All right, what's going on, guys? This is Out of the Park podcast. Very special guest, my man Max. Just want to give a couple basic facts about yourself.
What's going on, guys? I'm Max Frank from Long Island. Baseball player here at Albright, transferred here from SUNY Plattsburgh. And gonna talk about my process and things like that today.
So you transferred from Plattsburgh, yeah?
Yeah, I transferred to Plattsburgh State.
So what made you want to transfer here?
Honestly, it was really Coach Perry. It was a great visit when I came here. You know, I looked at other schools too. It wasn't my only look, but just having a coach that I could tell that was going to give me opportunity to do my thing. And he's just a great guy on and off the field, super helpful when I need help in the classroom or other things of that nature. He's just a great all-around guy. All the guys here are great. It's been a great first fall so far.
Yeah. Was it like the whole process of transferring, was it easy for you? Was it hard? Or
Honestly, because I went from D3 to D3 baseball, so it was very easy. You just got to sign a paper to talk to other coaches, and then really you just got to unenroll from your previous school. Once you get that go from the coach at your new school, you apply to get into your new school, and then that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Fairly simple.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a very simple process, not too hard. Like, it's not like you have to declare in the transfer portal everything like that as much as if you're like a D1 trying to transfer somewhere. It seems like their process is a lot harder.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's if I was going D3 to D1, which I clearly wasn't, or D3 to D2. But even then, it's just a way different. We're in D3 baseball. It's a way different process than it is for D1 guys.
Yeah. So do you feel comfortable sharing like why you wanted to transfer?
Yeah, absolutely. Plattsburgh State. I personally loved it. It was a great school for me at the time. It was one of my first offers. When back to what I was saying, I really did like Plattsburgh. It was one of my first offers my junior year summer, and I love the school. I loved all my buddies from there. I still talk to them to this day. I want to see them during Christmas break. It was just, for me, baseball wasn't for me there. Great guys on the team. They were all cool. Just it doesn't feel like home there for me. And I didn't feel like I was able to play my game of baseball there. And coming here, this fall felt like I was just back in high school again, able to play my game the way I wanted to play it. Obviously when you change levels from high school to college, you got to learn to adjust because you're playing that coach's game. You're not playing your game anymore. But I feel that Coach Perry here has done a great job of saying, hey, you can play your game still while doing what I want you to do. And I feel like that's a much more comfortable thing for me than just saying you can only do it this way, if that makes sense.
No, that definitely does. I mean, I've noticed obviously you train with Tread too. It's so much easier with Coach Perry that we're able to still do all of our training with them and then apply it with our practice. Like, he gives us that extra time, whether it's before practice, during practice, or after, to make sure we're still doing the drills that they're giving us while we're still practicing as a team here. And that's what I've liked so far. I mean, I've only been training with them for like 4 or 5 months, and I've noticed that I have enough time either during practice or everything like that to be able to do all their workouts as well as what we do here. So he's definitely been good with that type of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with that. Like, you got to make the time to do what you got to do on and off the field, whether it comes academically, athletically. You got to take care of things at home, whatever you got to do to be a good person, a good athlete, a good teammate. I feel like that's a big thing that I've learned in this last year is who I wanted to be as a person and who I wanted to be as an athlete. So I think that was also a good change because Coach Perry made me realize that I'm able to do those things here.
Yeah, 100%. So obviously you're a sophomore this year, correct?
Yeah.
Did you get a lot of playing time as a freshman?
I got 8 at-bats, and I got 15 innings behind the plate.
Wow.
So that was one of the factors of me leaving. But I thought I performed pretty well, and it wasn't anybody's fault. It's just obviously me and the coach didn't see eye to eye at Plattsburgh State. So it was just a mutual, for me, it was more mutual of just saying, like, hey, like, I just don't think this is going to work out anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I had left off with a good relationship with my coach at Plattsburgh, but it was time for me to be better and be happier somewhere else. And I felt like this was a really good move for me,
Yeah.
Athletically and academically.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that you're still able to be on like speaking terms and good terms with your old coach. I feel like that's definitely a positive to the whole situation, because there are some times where people transfer and they leave on bad terms, and it's like, well, you just played for them for a whole season, and then just because you're leaving, like, the coach is mad at you or you're mad at the coach. I feel like it's definitely a positive thing to have, that you're able to still, I mean, do you text your coach still?
I mean, I don't text him anymore. Me and the assistant coach at Plattsburgh State were really close. When he left Plattsburgh State too he's now the head coach at a JUCO program in New Hampshire, I believe. But, you know, we were very close, and he helped me get through what was a very hard year for me last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have a great connection with my head coach, but it's not like a relationship where I didn't ever, like, if he ever texted me, I would answer him. It's not like one of those relationships where, hey, you're going to text me, I'm not going to answer you back. It's more of a mutual, we have more of a business related relationship, where as my assistant coach, we had more of like that friendlier, like, hey, if you need anything, just reach out kind of relationship.
Yeah. No, that was definitely how I felt. I mean, coming in to freshman year, obviously, Coach Perry just took over the job. So I know with the coaches that recruited me in my class, like, we had a good relationship. Like, we were able to text them all the time, ask questions. And then it helped knowing that Coach Perry was, like, so similar to them. So it made the transition from coming in to a new coach so much easier. And it was such an easy transition from high school to college, and he played a really big role in making it a lot smoother than I had planned. Because, I mean, coming into college, it's like, it's a new experience. You're not playing for, like, with people that you grew up with. You're playing with people from all over, and it definitely was a easy transition. Just having him there, be able to talk to him. He's always checking in on everyone. Like, he definitely, like, made his first year really good, and communication, everything like that was really, really solid. And I mean, especially for being his first like, time being the head coach, I think he did a really solid job. So I know we had talked before, you kind of had, like, a injury history. How do you take, like obviously you're in a rough spot when you're injured. How do you, like, still lock in and continue to push through and everything like that?
You know, it's more of the fact of, hey, how fast do you want to get back out there? Mm-hmm. And for me, you know, I was lucky. I performed well enough when I was younger to get pulled up to varsity as a freshman, and that got taken away from me because of COVID. And then the next year, you know, I was either going to be splitting or starting as a sophomore on varsity. And the scrimmage, the last inter-squad we had before regular season games, I tore a ligament in the front outer part of my ankle, and I have what's called OCD lesions in the back of my ankle, which is like the depletion of your cartilage. So that took me back a solid 4 months. And a lot of the doctors, and I owe a lot of this to the doctor that I see now if I get injured, knock on wood that I don't, but she's pro non-surgery. And a lot of the doctors I saw before that, all of them wanted to do surgery for me, and I would have been out for 8 to 12 months. And she got me back on the field by my summer season, my summer travel ball season. And it was me realizing during that time of, like, all right, just because you got one leg injured doesn't mean you can still go get after it in the weight room, doing upper body stuff, single leg stuff, work on mobility. You know, this is the start of, like, when plyo balls were a big thing, medicine balls, like plyometrics. This is the start of, like, this Trevor Bauer era of baseball, where now everything's drive line, tread, any of these other big name places that you hear of a lot. This is the start of that. And, as a young kid and you see these guys being able to get out there and compete at their best performance, even while they're hurt, it's kind of like, all right, if they can do it, why can't I? And, I was still able to go get after it in the weight room, but it was still a big transition for me after taking 4 months off, not seeing any live at-bats, only throwing baseballs from a bucket. And then, you have that last month and a half, you're still in a boot, but I'm allowed to walk on it now, I'm allowed to do things. So that's when I started swinging again. And then I started throwing again, but I was still in a boot. So it was kind of like apples and oranges with that. But, I had more injuries. I had a partial tear in my labrum in my hip, which is not fun. I was just loading to swing a bat and I felt a pop. Even this fall, if Perry hears this, I'm sorry, but I fractured my big toe. I was just lifting and the bar bounced back and smashed my toe. I fractured my toe. Had to play the rest of the fall ball with a fractured big toe. I hurt my bicep tendon, my AC joint in my throwing arm. So, I've been through it mentally and physically, and I think that's what helps me make me the player I am, and having that catcher mentality, or is that dog mentality, as they say, of just saying, hey, I'm able to get through this every day. Like, no matter what you throw at me, I'm still going to be there and be that guy every day.
Yeah, no. I mean, I've been fortunate enough to not have as many injuries as you. I went through an injury in my shoulder and rotator cuff last winter, which really set me back. But, I mean, luckily I was able to rehab semi-quickly and get back out there for the season. But, I mean, yeah, it definitely takes a toll on your mental because you're not able to do the things you do normally. Like, I wasn't able to pick up a baseball for a solid 2 months, and that's just something I do every day. Like, I've thrown every single day. I was lifting every day. But it was definitely a different, I had to switch up my mentality and everything just to be able to come back healthier and better than before. And I think so far it's paid off. I haven't really had any issues with it. So it's been a good process so far. So kind of, you were talking about Trevor Bauer, and I know we've mentioned this in some of our other podcasts. Do you think that he should be in the MLB, or you?
Oh, absolutely. I think everything that has happened to this athlete, this top performer in the MLB for how many years now, honestly, he should be back. I mean, if you read all the facts, you read all the cases, you read all the trials, like, it's very imminent that he didn't do that. Mm-hmm. He obviously didn't do it. So he should be allowed back. I personally think he's like in the same thing. Him and Joe Kelly, another guy that gets overlooked a lot. They're in the same boat, I think, just because the MLB hates them. It's fair, plain and simple. They don't want guys that exploit the MLB to be there. So, Joe Kelly, or I don't remember if it's Joe Kelly or Trevor Bauer making those FU cleats with one of their faces on it, or things of other nature, just saying, hey, like, just because the MLB doesn't like it doesn't mean the fan base doesn't like it. Mm-hmm. And it's very clear that there are thousands and thousands of fans that want Trevor Bauer back in the game and many other things, because he's still a dominant pitcher. He played in the Japanese league last year. He played in the New Mexico league this year, and he was dominant in both. So clearly he's still ready to go and come back. And he even said he'll play for league minimum. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, I mean, he's my favorite player, and I obviously watch every single video, puts out everything. And it's hard to see that no team is willing to pay him the league minimum just because they think he's going to cause so much problems and everything. But when in fact, like, you never really heard of him causing locker room problems before. It just seems like the MLB's putting out this whole statement that he's a bad person in the locker room, on the field, everything. When in reality, no, he's playing the game of baseball how it should be played. I think you should be able to play with emotion and everything like that. And I think he's definitely built the new generation of baseball players coming up watching him, showing them that playing with emotion makes the game fun. It makes it a lot more interesting. Because I will say, sometimes, and in the past couple of years, like, baseball's been boring. Like, you can't do anything anymore. You can't celebrate. You can't do anything. And now you see, like, Bauer's over in Mexico, and he's dominating, and he's showing emotion. Like there was videos of him coming out swearing like cussing out all the batters, everything like that, showing all emotion. And I think that's the part of the game that is missing now is all of the officials and everything are trying to take that away, which in reality there's no point to that. Why would you take away all the fun things that people go to like games to watch? Like if someone hits a home run, you want to see them celebrate and bat flip, everything like that within reason. Or if a pitcher strikes you out, like you want to see him show emotion. I think it just makes the game a lot more interesting for people that don't watch baseball. Like they see like all these like celebrations and everything, they're looking, they're like, okay, maybe I was underestimating baseball, everything like that. But it seems as right when it started going up and people started showing more emotion, that's when like MLB and all these other like leagues and stuff were like, okay, well, everything's going up, but we don't like how it's being played because that's not how it used to be played. And I think it's just all about adapting to the new generation. Like we're starting to show more emotion, and it seems like all the older people that are involved with the game are trying to shut it down. Like you're not allowed to like pretty much celebrate towards the batter. Like I know we get told by like officials, like last year we got told you're not allowed to like go at other teams. And I totally respect that. Like if someone says something like, okay, yeah, you got to like kick it back a notch. But I also think that you should be able to, if someone does it to you, they should be able to handle it.
Well, exactly right. We saw that firsthand. We played Penn State Berks this weekend, and it was very one-sided. I thought, we weren't even chirping at them. They were going at us the whole game. We said one thing back, and the umpires tried to flip everything on us. And this goes back to, NCAA changing so many rules in these past 2.5, 3 years of saying, hey, you guys can't bat flip now. You can't pimp a home run. You can't strut your stuff after a strikeout. You can't do a lot of things now that, look at college football. These guys are allowed to dance now. They're allowed to do many things that they weren't allowed to do. And I think that's overlooked a lot in college baseball. There's these new rules now. There's no national letter of intent. There's only 34 guys to a roster. You're on scholarship semester by semester now. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of new rules that affects us D3 guys the most, especially because you got guys that are 6th and 7th years at this point, which I think is absolutely ridiculous that you're 24, 25 playing college baseball still at a Division 3 or Division 3 NAIA JUCO Division 1, whatever place you're playing at. I think it's ridiculous that they still have eligibility. Now, with that being said, I don't mind the redshirt year if you don't play. I think that's acceptable because that's, hey, you didn't do anything, you didn't play. Don't give them that year. Mm-hmm. That makes sense. But this COVID year, this red shirt, blue shirt, whatever they want to call it, honestly, is just I found kind of crazy, especially for my recruiting class. You got a lot of guys like that are D2, D1 guys, and we're all kind of hanging out D3 because we had nowhere to go. There was just so many people at every position. I mean, look at us. We got a lot of guys at every position, but that's just because of the trickle-down effect it's literally a domino effect from D1 to D3. And that's why there's a lot of guys in the transfer portal in baseball. College baseball is a business now. I don't think it's a sport. I think it's a business. This NIL, which I don't mind the NIL deals. I do mind the fact that coaches use it to their leverage of being like, hey, I can get you a bigger NIL deal. Like, hey, man, there's still college athletes. You don't even know if they're going to go pro. Mm-hmm. How do you know? Mm-hmm. They could be the best prospect coming out of high school, but they get hurt in college. What your life? What are you going to do with your life? Mm-hmm. Is my point. So yeah. I think it's kind of crazy how NCAA has changed so many things over these years for baseball, especially how drastic this game has changed over these couple years.
Yeah, I mean, there's been definitely a lot of positives, but like the NIL deals, I was, even being a college athlete now, I still look at it, I'm like, man, I still think that as athletes we shouldn't, and I'm not totally against it, but my view has always been the same, where I think you're a college athlete, you shouldn't necessarily get paid these big $1 million deals.
No, I 100% agree with that. I don't think you should get millions and millions of dollars, but if let's say you got Nike's like, hey, if you rep our gear, we'll give you so and so gear. We'll give you all the gear you want with like, let's say like a $10,000 a year compensation. I don't mind that at all, but it goes towards your scholarship. I think that's totally acceptable. I don't think, you got football teams like Texas getting these kids in Lamborghinis, kids signing NIL deals with Lamborghini and Ferrari. Like, it's just insane to me. And they haven't stepped on the field yet. I don't understand how this all works.
Yeah, no, I mean, I totally get what you're saying, and I also think like, yeah, they're giving them all this stuff, and like you said, they haven't played. I think you should have to earn it, and it's almost like now athletes are more focused on the off the field stuff rather than actually improving their game and working harder. Like I'm totally for kids being able to go to college on scholarships, free, everything like that. It worked for how many years now? Now it seems like a lot more kids are just worried about how they're going to make these big dollars going to these different schools, and it's just a difficult topic to comprehend and everything. But I also think that it's just something that's getting in the way of everything, because then on top of that, like, you're signing these NIL deals, so then all the officials and higher up in the NCAA are looking at it and they're like, okay, well, now we can restrict them more. And I think right when they started having the ability to pay athletes is when the game kind of started going downhill a little bit, with them taking away the celebrations, everything like that. Because college baseball used to be one of the, like, you used to be able to get super hyped during games, bat flip, everything like that. Now it's like, well, you're getting paid to do this, so you're almost like the MLB, but you're not allowed to do specific things. And even in the MLB, you're not allowed to celebrate as much. And it just goes back to the whole statement that we had earlier, that they're just taking away the fun parts of the sport.
I mean, I agree. It's, especially as a D3 athlete, everyone's like, oh, you're a D3 athlete, you have it easy. When in reality, I think we have it probably the hardest. We're not here on athletic scholarship. We're not getting paid. What NIL what company's going to try and sign 2 kids from Albright College? Which I totally understand. But I think we have it the hardest, because we're going to practice from 3 to 7 o'clock at night. Then we got to lift afterwards. Then the next day we got to be back up at 8, which I love. I don't mind the grind, but you got guys complaining that, oh, I didn't get enough money from this company, so I'm going to enter the transfer portal, or I'm going to sit the bench because I'm not. Nah, I don't see, like, that. That makes no sense to me. You're given the opportunity to play baseball, football at the highest level you can, and just because you didn't get enough amount of money to play for an NIL deal, you're gonna call it quits. I feel like it's just you're playing college sports. You have a gift to play college sports. Just enjoy it. I don't think a lot of kids enjoy it anymore. It's too much of a business. And I think that if a lot of these guys that play D1 baseball or D1 football come down here, come experience what Division III baseball is like in football. Let me know how you feel about it after a couple weeks or a month. Let me know how you really feel about not getting enough money from this big company. And we as D3 guys, I feel like we're the true grinders. We got to earn everything that we get.
100%.
And I love it. I'm all about the grind. I love working hard. I love being in the weight room 2 hours a day, being on the field 6-7 hours a day with practice. Like, I love it. As long as I get better, but all these guys are just like crying over an NIL deal. Like, dude, just be happy that you're playing college sports. Is my perspective.
No, yeah, we're definitely playing for the love of the sports, whereas some, not all, but some people that are just there for the money, and I think it just takes away the value of the game and how lucky everyone is. Like you said, we're putting in a lot of hours. We're not getting paid, but we're doing it because we still love it. Like, you see us putting in a ton of hours. Like, on Saturdays, we're there for 8-9 hours. We're putting in all that, and we're not even getting paid. So it's like, it just shows that we are overall just spreading the love, and we're here to grind and just keep working, getting better every day. And it's just great to be around an environment that everyone's pretty much the same. They have all the same opportunities, and we're all just grinding together and just seeing each other get better every day.
I mean, look at Sunday. We had a great time, and we were playing a scrimmage. It was our end of fall, last day of the fall. Everyone's exhausted. But, you got to flip that switch of like, hey, I'm here now. We're here as a team. Let's go get a clean sweep today, play some good baseball, and enjoy the fall, And when you're around a group of guys that wants it as bad as you, not even that, just wants to play baseball for as long as they can, making sacrifices, that shows a lot about who you are as a person, and it also shows who you surround yourself with. And I think that's very important.
Yeah, no, great. So kind of switching it up off of like the whole baseball and everything like that, you're really big into fitness and everything. So you kind of want to go over, I know we had talked about how you lost a ton of weight. You just kind of want to get into what the process of that was, what your mentality was, everything like that.
Yeah, man. And, it was, I would say it was a long road for me, but it really wasn't. I've been a big kid my whole life. I've been one of those, as they call, bigger, thicker boned guys, which is just an excuse to saying that someone's fat, and which I was. I'll totally admit that I was a bigger kid. I was not eating right. I was sloppy physically. This is what caused most of my injuries too, I do believe, because ever since I've lost all this weight, this is probably the best I felt athletically. My mobility's up. My arm strength feels great. I'm not really tired as much. And, it comes down to taking care of yourself mentally, physically, your intake, your outtake, who you're surrounding yourself with. And for me, it was the fact of not playing my freshman year baseball and coming from someone who's played their whole life, who hasn't had to sit the bench, because I've been one of the top performers on most of the teams I've played on. And to go from a senior season, finish hitting 400 in high school, then summer ball, rolling into high school, freshman fall in college. I finished hitting 470 in summer ball, rolling to fall ball, have a great fall, hit upper threes again. And, then you get to spring ball and you're like, all right, maybe I have an opportunity to play, I want to show my stuff, and then it's just bam, you're sitting for 40 games. And you're kind of like, you get into this mentality of, do I even want to play anymore? And then, I had a real sit-down conversation with myself, and it was more of the lines of like, hey, if we're going to do this, we got to figure it out. And, I obviously chose the way of, I figured it out. And for me, it was drowning out all the, as they say, the noise, which is more of listening to people of like, you're fine, when in reality, you're not. You can't listen to people, you gotta listen to yourself. And for me, I went into the weight room, I trained like a wrestler, I had thermals on, sweatshirt, leg thermals, sweatpants, high socks, and, I would go through a regular lift with that on. Then I would switch to my running shoes. I would jump rope for 10 to 15 minutes. Then I would go and walk incline for another 25, 30 minutes. And I would be in the gym for probably 3 hours every day. And once I flipped the switch of eating healthier too, that was a big switch. Like, I got rid of carbs and heavy calories, saturated fats, trans fats, anything of that nature. I got rid of. I was eating, higher protein amounts, protein shakes, meal swapping, water fasting, things of that nature. And now I'm at a point in 6 months of like, hey, you could kind of like, I could kind of eat whatever I want now, because I've trained my metabolism to be a little bit quicker now. And once you get to a point of eating healthy for so long, you don't want to not eat healthy, and it bothers your stomach. And for me, I was ashamed of how big I was when I was filling out my my freshman form when they put it on the website, whatever that's called, I forget. And, you know, I put 225. I was 6'2", 225. When in reality, I was 6', 240, 235, 240. And I couldn't put it down because I was ashamed. And, you know, when you know that you're wrong and you're kind of like, all right, like, let's just see what happens. You know, my first month, I went from 235, 240 to 220. 225, 220. And I was like, all right, you see the progress. And I think that's a big thing too. When you see progress, you don't want to stop. And then the next month I was 215 to like 210. And I was like, wow, all right. And then, you know, it's also the realization of when you see your parents for the first time and you haven't seen them in a couple months and they don't recognize you because of who you started to become. And you're like, oh, wow, I really am doing this now. And, you know, now I was 240 in April of 2024. It's October 2024. I'm 189. Mm-hmm. And that's a big difference. That's a big contribution of how I've played this well this fall. I thought I played very well this fall. You know, my arm's stronger. I gained probably 8 to 10 miles an hour throwing. You know, strength's gone down naturally, but that's just because I lost so much weight. And, you know, I feel like I'm hitting well. I'm stealing bases. I'm moving well behind the plate. And overall, I just look like more of an athletic baseball player. And, you know, I feel great. Now it's time for me to put on 10 pounds of muscle in the winter. But, you know, that's what we got the off season for, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this off season goes for me and seeing how I can transform my body again.
Yeah, I mean, we got a pretty similar story. I mean, I've always been a bigger kid. I mean, I've definitely seen where, like, okay, I'm not super big anymore. Like, when I was younger, like, super fat. Like, you could definitely tell, like, I was the biggest kid everywhere, everything like that. COVID came around, I lost probably just from... Because, like, you see a lot of people, they were gaining a ton of weight during COVID. I was the opposite of that. I went from, like, I dropped maybe, like, 30 pounds in COVID and just, like, dropped all that, stayed senior. I felt great senior year. I came to college. Like, I was in a good state. Obviously, like, you put on a little bit of weight when you come to college. That's just the natural thing. But, like, I also look at it as I put on a lot more muscle because I actually started to lift a lot more. I mean, throughout high school, like, my freshman year, I got injured. I was fat. Freshman year. Sophomore year, I lost to COVID, everything like that. I was supposed to possibly play on varsity, but I lost it because of that. Junior year, I came out as I was our number one, like 1 or 2 starter. So, like, I put in all that work over COVID, lost the weight, got so much better, everything like that, and it paid off. Senior year, I was the ace for my high school, and then just transitioning into college, like, the last 2 years, I mean, I'm a junior now, and I've played a substantial amount of time in my freshman year and sophomore year, so now I'm kind of trying to switch gears almost of trying to lose even more weight and replace it with muscle so I can take what I'm at now and just up it a lot more. Like, I want to gain velocity. I want to be an even better pitcher overall, everything like that. But it's just like you said earlier, like, yeah, once you see the results, you're like, oh, wow, like, I want to keep doing this. And I've slowly seen results in, like, velocity and everything like that, lifting wise. Everything just kind of lines up perfectly, and it's definitely been a great journey so far for me as well. I mean, obviously, I'm slowly doing what you're doing with wearing all the thermals, everything like that. It's definitely hard when you first start out. Like, you're sitting there, you're sweating so much, like, you're so hot in the gym. It's like, wow, this is crazy. But you see those results so much faster when you dedicate more time and more effort into it. Like you said, you did what? This is like 5 months since you started this?
Yeah, I'm down about, let's say 45, 50 pounds.
In 5 months, you're down about 50 pounds is just crazy. And it takes a lot of dedication that a lot of people aren't, like, you hear a lot of people that are always like, oh yeah, I want to lose weight, everything like that. They set these goals, but they never achieve it because they don't want to put in that extra effort. Whereas you had the goal in mind, you wanted to be better, you wanted to lose the weight, get faster, everything like that. You did it in 5 months. It's incredible that you were able to cut down that much weight and everything and still be at the top of your game while doing it. And it's just a great and motivational like story that you have for that. So yeah, I mean, congrats on losing 50 pounds in 5 months. It's great.
No, I appreciate that, brother. And I owe a lot of it to my family. My mom, she's my number one fan always. My girlfriend says that she is, but she isn't. It's my mom always. I love her forever. And for me, it's also my father. My father's played a huge role in where I am today. When I was younger, I used to fake doing sprints because I hated it because I was fat. I didn't want to do anything. I was a lazy kid. I just wanted to hit. And, I owe a lot of this to my dad. My dad has helped me tremendously, and my mom, they've sacrificed more than I could ever think of to help me get to this spot in my life. From getting me baseball lessons to a strength coach to driving me all over the country, flying me all over the country for travel ball, sacrificing, working to help me, seeing their friends, seeing our family. And, it's a lot. And everybody, when you're a kid, you don't realize what your parents do for you. And as, I'm by no means an adult, but, I've realized over the years how much they have sacrificed for me, and they still do to this day. I could call them right now. They'll pick up the phone, whatever I need, they'll do it for me. Mm-hmm. And I'm very lucky to have people like this in my corner. My brother, my second oldest brother, is a big contributor to my health. My grandfather had, heart problems, and things of that nature. And my brother was like, do you want to end up like that when you're older? And, obviously I said no. And he was like, all right, well, you got to step it up. And, he's a big role model to me. When you look at someone he wanted to do boxing, he was great at it. He's in great shapes to this day. He has 2 kids now, my niece and my nephew, and who I love to death. He's still in great shape for someone who doesn't have to be. He's helped me a lot through this journey, and my oldest brother as well. He didn't have it easy as well growing up. He he's a bigger guy like me, kind of runs in the family for sure. But he working with him this summer, I'm kind of a blue collar guy where that's just in my family. My dad's a blue collar guy. My 2 brothers are blue collar guys, and working construction, of seeing how hard he has to work every day. Seeing people that impact you tremendously every day work as hard and want to see you do well in your life has helped me tremendously. My dad was a bodybuilder, so he's helped me learn nutrition and things of that nature. But, it's my family, my girlfriend too. She's my second biggest fan. She helps me with whatever I need. She keeps me focused when I need help to be focused. She relaxes me. She does a lot for me. And I know you guys are going to think, look at this 19-year-old kid talking about his girlfriend, but, I've been dating this girl for 3.5 years now. And so it's a little bit different for me. We've been through our ups and downs in life, but, we're still together, and she's my rock. So, I think that's a big contribution to my success, is having people in my corner helping me through whatever life throws at me.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a big positive when you have that solid foundation behind you. You have your family, you have girlfriend in your instance, and just friends, and like everyone is just there to see you succeed. They want to help you with your goals, and it always helps motivate you a little bit more when you have those type of people that are really sacrificing things for you and just being there all the time, trying to motivate you and keep you going forward towards your goals, and it's a great thing to have. I mean, I have my family. They sacrificed so much over the last couple of years. I mean, I didn't play travel ball. It was just something that never piqued my interest. And I mean, I'm glad that my parents didn't force me, because I think you see that a lot now. Parents will force kids, and I'm super glad that they weren't the type to do that. But they also weren't going to let me just sit around all the time. They were making me go do different baseball things. And I mean, especially within the last couple of years, they let me do pitching lessons. And I've been seeing my pitching coach for, I think it's like 3 or 4 years now, and I've seen the progress so far. And that's why it made going to Tread and everything so much easier of a choice. Like, yeah, it comes with a big price tag. I'm not going to lie, it's a lot of money, but it also helps you with that. Like, you're paying this amount of money that you kind of have to put in the work, and it helps motivate. That's another thing that just helps motivate you. And my parents were super helpful with like just making sure this is exactly what I want to do. And it's great to have them in my corner. And yeah, I mean, it's just been a great journey so far. So obviously we're college athletes now. If you weren't a college athlete, what do you think you would be doing?
I'd be working construction.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be with my family every day. It would be, honestly, I couldn't imagine my life without baseball. But if I were to be outside of baseball, I'd be blue collar boy working for my father in construction. That's probably exactly what I'd be doing. For a smart kid, and I transferred here with a 3.9 GPA, graduated high school with a 4.0. I not a big school person. I do what I have to in the classroom, and I do it well because that's what I'm here to do.
Mm-hmm.
But if I had the option to not, if I was just an outsider who had the option to go to college or do a trade, I would choose a trade because I'm just not a school person. I like to do work. I like to do these things that would benefit me sooner than later, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I'm in the same boat. If I didn't play college baseball, I was definitely not coming to college. I mean, I had great grades coming out of high school. I have good grades now. Like, I just never wanted to have to do another 4 years of school. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm in the same boat where I would be doing probably concrete or something, like landscaping, something like that. That's what I do all summer. I love it. I love going to work over the summer, even though it's long days. It helps build your character because you're out there working with all these guys, and it's a better experience. And yeah, like I said, I definitely would have not chose to be a college student over working blue collar just because I'd much rather be making money right now than sitting in a classroom. But I do it because I love playing baseball, and baseball has always been something that I've done. So it was an easier decision making the choice of coming to college rather than going right to work. I know a lot of my friends, they chose to go to work, and I see them now like, yeah, they're making money. They're able to do everything. I think they live great lifestyles and everything like that, but I just couldn't imagine not coming and playing at least 4 more years of baseball, and it's become a part of my life. So if you could give your younger self one bit of information or advice, what would you give?
Lay off the sweet treats. In reality, it's stay positive. Mm-hmm. Be a good person. Be nice to everybody. Stay humble. Because when you're not, it hits you in the face really, really hard. And enjoy the little things. That's what I will preach the most. Mm-hmm. Especially, I'm an uncle, so not seeing my niece, who was born right before I went away to my freshman year of college, not seeing her for how many months I couldn't even tell you, just because of how far Plattsburgh was away from my home. I watched her grow up through a phone. So when you stop and take a breath and say, okay, what am I doing right now? Who am I with? And you sit back and enjoy your life. And it's kind of like I'm in a great point in my life. Mm-hmm. You might have a bad day. You might not be doing good in life. But if you stop take a breath, and look at the memories that you've made. And that's what will really help you in life, I think. Looking at the things that have made you the person you are today. Even if you're having a rough patch in your life, looking at those happy memories, smiling with your family, doing this podcast with one of my buddies right now, playing baseball with my friends, that's what makes you a person, I think. And as my high school coach always said, always be early, never late.
Yeah, no, that's a great quote. I 100% agree. Just it's so crazy how sports are able to influence your life so much, and then you can just expand from there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're able to learn so much from baseball and just apply it to your life. And obviously you've been trending in the right direction, so it's great to hear your story and just see that you're able to succeed even when you've had all these hardships and everything. And I mean, it's great with social media. You're able to still see your niece.
Yeah,
your niece, correct?
I got three nieces and a nephew.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard to see that when you're older, but at the same time, it's kind of like bittersweet, because you get to see these cute little faces grow up every day.
Mm-hmm.
Every day it's something new they're doing. And for me, I'm a big family guy. Like, family is always first for me, at least since that has changed dramatically for me since coming to college. Family is so important. If you have a fight with a family member, fix it. Regardless of what your problem is, you have to be with your family.
Mm-hmm.
You have to love your family no matter what. Even me and my brothers fight, I'll still give them the shirt off my back. And I think that's one of the things that my high school coach taught me in my senior year, because it was his last year of coaching. He's been there for God knows how long. He was an old guy, and he was another guy who played a big role in my life. He he gave me a shot when a lot of people didn't want. So having him in my corner to this day, I still text him. He's a great guy. He's a good dude. He always told me, hey, you got something at home to take care of, go take care of it. Perry preaches that too. Family first, always. There's always, you guys always got to remember, student before athlete.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people, doesn't get translated a lot, especially at the Division I level. I know a lot of my friends that struggle with managing both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely a hard concept. But I mean, that's all the questions I have. Do you have any questions for me?
Nah, brother, I'm all good.
Well, I just want to thank you for coming on. Thanks for sharing your story. It's such a inspirational story to see people as close to me that have went through similar things and they're able to succeed and everything like that. But yeah, again, thanks for coming on. But yeah, so this is another Out of the Park podcast. All of Max's socials will be in the video, whether our editor will take care of all of that. Go follow him, keep up with his story, and guess we're going to see how good we are this season.
Yes, sir. Thanks again, brother. Thanks for having me.